I don't think it comes as any surprise that I'm a fan of resets. Sometimes just diving into your life for a week or a couple weeks or a month of super focused energy into making shifts in different parts of your life, it is just what you need. But I think there can be this point, at least for me, where I can get in my own way by being so in my head that I'm not just doing the thing that needs to get done. I'm building it up more in my head than it needs to be. I think we all have experience with that. And that's where I think action is so powerful and what we need to kind of push ourselves to do, because it's through action that we start alleviating some of those stressors. But how do we make action as easy as possible? Well, I've talked about this concept before, but we're really going to deep dive into it today. The 10-minute timer. What I find so powerful about 10 minutes is that it's not an intimidating amount of time. It seems so achievable. 10 minutes goes by like that. We're gonna go through 10 minutes throughout watching today's video. But B, despite it being a short amount of time, you actually can get more done than you may think possible if you're really intentional about how you're spending that 10 minutes. So my theory is that if I use an hour of 10-minute sessions, so 6 10-minute sessions, I can make some pretty transformative moves. And that's what I'm going to showcase myself doing today. I'm going to take you along with me as I transform my life in 60 minutes. My mood has been a little off the past week, and I feel like this is what I need to give myself a quick little. I hope today's video gives you inspiration for doing this for yourself, but I also hope that as you're watching today's video, you're thinking a little bit more about what are the things, the tasks that you can do that would have the most impact on your life right now. It's going to be different for all of us because we're all kind of going through different things. We're all in different places. On that note, let's get to it. In my apartment right now, an area where I feel not great operating in is my closet, and it's really only because this shelf and this shelf right here are looking very disheveled. I've gotten into the bad habit of not folding my clothes properly and nicely and putting them back into place. Especially in this one, my workout section, everything's just tossed in there. Do I know what's in there? No, because I can't see everything. And this has been a frustration that has been building within me for about a month. So this is just not a good use of energy. Why am I getting just upset or drawn down by this when I can definitely make that shift in 10 minutes to transform these shelves? Tidying, cleaning, decluttering, organization, these are things that we tend to think have to be all or nothing approaches. They don't. Actually, if you were more consistent with the mini, declutter organization sessions, you have to do less of the big ones, and those aren't always the most fun in the world. So if I can do less of those, I'm a happy gal. I'm gonna get my 10-minute timer going, and it is crucial to use an actual timer because what you're doing should not go beyond the 10 minutes. We're trying to make this not something that you put off, that you feel ready to just go with, and constraining yourself helps make that possible because there's always more tidying, organizing, cleaning you can do. Here we go. I think especially because this is an area where I'm in every day, I'm getting ready for the start of the day in this area in my morning. So having it be so disheveled visually, like I know, like I said, I'm gonna probably transform this in 10 minutes, so it's not in the worst state in the world, but the visual makes a big impact on how I'm feeling getting ready. This spring, I'll have to do like a little bit bigger of a session in this closet because I'll be bringing my winter clothes out and bringing the spring clothes in. So investing time into like doing a full declutter like makes no sense right now because the season of clothing is almost over. I think another take on this that I think is really powerful too is just to do a general 10-minute tidy. I try and do this as daily as possible, like a closing shift in my life, right before bed or right after dinner, like doing just 10 minutes to tidy common areas in my home. So if you're struggling with picking a specific area, just doing that goes a long way. 5 minutes, this one's done. We're moving on to this one. Okay, this is the worst one, and I've got like less than 2 minutes to do it, but I think we're gonna make it. I didn't quite make it. So this is a lesson for me, is that I should have even done like just 10 minutes for one of these shelves. But I got this one done, and this one like 80% of the way there. I'm gonna spend like the next 2 minutes just finishing this up and then I'll show you, but We could have even gone like smaller with this, made it a little less stressful. See, this is just an example of how we learn together. Finished result, we have everything folded in ways that I can actually see what sweater I'm looking at. More folded gear. Here is like my tank tops and my t-shirts in the back. And above is workout stuff. We've got workout pants, short sleeve tops in the back, all my sports bras over here, and long sleeve tops on the right. Obviously not perfect, but so much better than it was. And all I just need to do now going forward is say, when I put something back, I'm gonna actually put it in its place so that it can kind of stay a little bit more or less like this for as long as possible. I've got my Filofax out here for my next little session. We're doing it on a piece of lined paper though, so feel free to do this next task on whatever scrap piece of paper you have around you. But I am gonna use the next 10 minutes to do a brain dump. Now with this brain dump session, I'm not taking a journaling approach, which I have done before, where you take 10 minutes to just write whatever comes to mind, because I feel like that has like this idea that you need to write sentences or that it needs to be so emotional. That is great. I love that too. But for mine today, what I feel like I need is just a release of things that have been on my mind, of things I need to get done. There's just not one spot where all this information is. So I still have the mental load of trying to carry that information and remember it, and then oftentimes forgetting it when opportune moments arise where I can get that task done. 10-minute timer is going on and I'm just gonna let it all out. Here we go. So I'm gonna keep this point form, no sentences needed. Okay, I'm 3 minutes in, we've got 7 minutes still on the timer, and I've written like the things that came top of mind. So as I'm talking, maybe I'll add more to this, but this is what my brain dump list is looking like. Just a random list of things. I'm seeing a theme for me. It's very much so task focused, which makes sense because I have been feeling like in my head about things I need to buy, pick up at the store, things that I need to do around the apartment, just life tasks that need to be, oh, I need to call the cell phone company. There's still 5 minutes on my clock here. I would probably use that as a sign to say, okay, well, I can now take this list a step further and assign it to days directly in my planner, just so I feel like, oh, okay, now I've got a plan for attack. But if you use the full 10 minutes filling this up, then you just like have that sheet of paper set aside, and next time you're in your planner ready to plan things out, use that information to start scheduling things in. But just this release of, okay, it's now on paper, which means that I know that it's something that needs to get done. I will schedule it accordingly. It's great. I'm actually gonna bring this right to my weekly spread so that it's top of mind. Ta-da! We're slowing things down for this next 10-minute session because I don't think a 60-minute reset has to be go, go, go. To do that, we are gonna be talking about breath work, and I'm gonna go beyond just talking about meditation in general, because yes, 10-minute meditation would be great for this, but I wanna show or talk about 2 breathing methods that I find really helpful, even if I only have 30 seconds or 2 minutes to kind of reset my nervous system. The first technique is pretty popular. It's called the box breath. So how it works is you're gonna breathe in the formation of a box. You're gonna inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds. And you just keep following this breathwork pattern until you feel a little bit of release. So this is where putting on a 10-minute timer and just focusing on that is great. But like I said, I do this when I, even throughout the day, just need to calm myself down a bit. If I can feel that tension rising, if I feel like my shoulders are up to here and I'm just like, I've got so much to get done, this really helps loosen things up. Another breathwork technique that I really love, that I actually use more than the box breath, is the double inhale exhale. So you breathe in as much as possible and then do another inhale and then release. So that second inhale feels kind of uncomfortable, but you're just really filling your diaphragm area with as much air as possible. And something about that just like feels so good. Double inhale. Another one. You feel really tight and release. I know 10 minutes spent on breathing may not on the surface seem as impactful as maybe organizing, decluttering, writing down a brain dump, but taking care of our nervous systems and not letting stress build up in our body is probably the most important thing that you can do regularly to just kind of give yourself the space to actually enjoy the moments that you're existing within. I am guilty too of doing a doom scroll on my phone on Instagram or TikTok, and sometimes you just feel like crap after you're done that, and this is a really great way to remind myself reality is more important than getting caught up with what I'm seeing online. I'm habit stacking with this next 10-minute session and having a full glass of water because hydration, it's important. It is not news. I've said it, many have said it before. We spend a lot of time on our phones, in our digital spaces. What else is new? Yes, I am a firm believer in that opportunity, any opportunity really, to get me away from my phone. But we exist on our phones, and if we're gonna exist there, let's just work with it rather than fight against it all the time. You know, I'm not saying that there's not a place for detoxes, but this is 2025, okay? For this 10-minute session, I'm gonna focus primarily on my inbox. I'm gonna spend probably 5 minutes just deleting and archiving emails that are building up, because my inbox does build up. And I'm gonna spend the next 5 minutes deleting or unsubscribing from emails I'm not opening. This isn't really something that I can show you because some of these emails I'm tackling my work inbox, obviously have more sensitive information in them, so I'm not gonna do that, but I'm just going through and quickly tackling the emails I know for sure, like I can delete and archive. The ones that I'm a little uncertain of, I'm not even gonna waste time on that. It's just trying to minimize the unread number in my inbox because it does, like I said, it does build. Another great way to spend this time would be to go through your feed. I've talked about this before, doing like an audit of who you're following on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, and unsubscribing from whatever doesn't serve you. Rearranging your home screen page, deleting apps is a great way to spend this 10 minutes. You can also focus your 10 minutes on your photo app so that you go through, you know, just the past month's worth of photos and delete things that you don't need, put things in albums that you want in albums, get rid of screenshots, like that sort of thing. I'm trying to get better about that because the camera roll can just be a dump of so many different types of things. Yes, there are great memories in there, but yes, there are also tons of screenshots and screen recordings that I take both for work and for my personal life that I have no reason to keep. One of my favorite ways to reset is to engage my mind, and to do so in a low stimulating way. You want whatever you choose to be something that you genuinely find joy in doing. Maybe it inspires you, it brings like a lot of just delight to your present moment. I don't think you'd be shocked to hear that reading is probably my go-to for this, but my form of reading that I'm gonna use for my 10-minute session today, and that I've really been enjoying as an alternative to doom scrolling, is scrolling through Substack. Substack is a platform rooted in writing, so there's a ton of different writers and blogs and newsletters and just, yeah, a lot of written form content. I just love how easy it is to find different types of written content for different categories like culture and finance, fashion and beauty, health and wellness, technology, business, sports, art and illustrations, health. Now, don't get me wrong, not all of the content on here is relaxing. You know, it just comes to mind world politics is not going to be the most chill section for me to explore. But if I'm doing something like this very intentionally, something like the art and illustration or the health and wellness section are a little bit more friendly places for me to play in. And if I just scroll through the art and illustration section, I usually just find things like obviously visually that are very inspiring. Like, look at this, crocheted bagels and veggies, oh my gosh. So there's this component that's more visual, but then there are also like written blog posts that I find so interesting to dive into. When I first started off on the internet, I was a blogger, and there is something so refreshing to me about deep diving into someone's thoughts in this way. And I think that's why I've loved like that component to Substack, is just getting to consume content in written form as well. This article right here that I'm scrolling through, which is by Molly Menning, 10 free things that make my life better. So interesting. And yeah, like there is still some like photo element to parts of this app, but I think because the whole like count, comment section, social aspect isn't as in your face as say on Instagram or on TikTok, I just find it like a cozier area of the internet to scroll. And it's fun to read things, at least for me as a reader, that aren't necessarily published, that isn't like this formal book of intellectual goodness. Sometimes it's kind of like the written form of what I like watching on YouTube, which is a lot of like video essays. It's nice to find areas on the internet where you feel just a lot of ease in exploring. And like I said, kind of back to the point in the whole email declutter situation, technology isn't going away. These places aren't going away, but how can you work with it? How can you find the low stimulation within the high stimulation world? And this is, at least for now, one of those areas where I'm finding that to be the case. I also want to make note that I purposely try and do this on my iPad over my phone, because although Substack is on the phone also has the more compelling apps, the very addictive ones that are easy to just like flip to quickly. And on the iPad, not that they don't exist there, but they are not the same user experience there. So it really does feel like I'm scrolling through a virtual newspaper when I'm doing this. The bundle is happening because yes, I'm venturing outside for this next 10-minute session. Changing the environment that you're in feels like the equivalent of hitting restart on any piece of technology, but for the human body. I know it's so cliche to say get outside, but especially in the winter here in Canada, I think we spend a lot more time indoors. Combine that with like that seasonal depression that can happen, and it's just a recipe for feeling a lot of the same things over and over again. So there's no such thing as bad weather, just bad clothing. Is that what they say? When I'm walking around the city and I'm going places, I tend to put on some sort of podcast or audiobook or music lightly in the background. You want to stay vigilant, but just something to stimulate the walk, make it like a 2-for-1 special. I'm walking somewhere and I'm also getting something intellectually done. But if I'm doing something like this where I want it to have more of a reset focus, I don't want any stimulation like that. And instead, like, I think it's actually great to challenge yourself to just start taking notice of your environment and pull your focus outside of your own head with like these silly challenges, like, oh, I'm gonna go outside and today I'm just gonna look for anything that I see the color red and make note of it. I'm gonna count how many crosswalk buttons I go across, or how many people I come across that have coffee cups in their hands. Like, just something silly that means nothing. It's not like I'm actually like doing anything productive, but it's forcing me to observe the world around me in a new way. So you kind of benefit from the fact that yes, I'm out of my environment that might be, you know, contributing to some of my stress, but then B, you're also trying to reinvent even the common areas that you are in often. Like, you're trying to rediscover them by seeing these new details that you don't usually focus on. Oh, I might need to go get a coffee. I'm like yawning over here. This reset's making me tired. 10-minute nap? Could be a move. So while I go do that, I want to know in the comment section down below, what do you think is the most transformative way you could spend 10 minutes today? Or tell me about a past activity that helps you out, something that you do often that helps contribute to the reset that you need on a moment's notice. We tackled physical decluttering, digital decluttering, managing our mental space with brain dumps and breath work, indulged in some inspiration, and we've taken ourselves out of our environment so much that we can manage to do in such a short amount of time. I'm kind of impressed. I think this was a good one. Sure, one 60-ish minute session of different reset activities might not transform everything about your life, but I think the idea is just to make these things a little bit more of a consistent part of your routine and my routine. This is a reminder to myself as well. Anyways, I'll see you guys soon with the new one. Until then, bye.